I'm going to give you some advice to help you navigate the huge number of hotel choices you have when you travel. Hello, welcome to Trip Hacks DC. My name is Rob. I'm a tour guide here in the nation's capital. If you're coming to Washington, D.C. and you're looking for the best tips, tricks, and hacks for exploring the city, make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification icon so that you don't miss any new videos. And if you're interested in signing up for a Trip Hacks DC tour, head on over to triphacksdc.com afterwards to see the tours that I offer. In this video, I'm going to give you some tips to help you pick a place to stay that best fits your needs. Everyone has different tastes and preferences, so it's important to understand that there is no universal best place to stay. If you've been to DC before and you have any personal favorites, leave a comment on this video and let everyone know what it is and why. Otherwise, let's get started. My first tip is to understand that niceness is relative. People ask me all the time if fill in the blank is a nice hotel. Unfortunately, I'm actually in a pretty terrible position to answer this question. I've stayed in plenty of hotels during my own travels, but almost none here in Washington, D.C. And why would I, since I live here and already have a place to stay? Just like you probably don't stay in hotels in the city where you live either. For that reason, I always try to stay up to date on which hotels have good reputations and make recommendations accordingly. For example, when someone comes on one of my tours, I almost always ask them where they're staying and how they like it. If a hotel has a bad reputation, or people who have come on my tours have had legitimate reasons for not liking it, I make sure that I know that. Another comment that I hear people say all the time is, I don't care if the hotel's fancy, it just needs to be clean. Now, this is sort of a given. Nobody wants to stay at a hotel that's dirty, but the thing is, there's no universal standard for cleanliness either. You can see what I mean by looking at online reviews for any hotel. One person might praise it for being super clean, and another person might say exactly the opposite. It's not necessarily that one of these reviews is fake or made up, it's just that people have different standards and preferences when it comes to these things. And I'll have some more tips about how to navigate that shortly. My second tip is that you should focus on where you want to stay. The biggest variable that will impact the quality of your trip is how close the hotel where you're staying is to the things that you want to see and do. In a previous video, I laid out 11 areas of the city and suburbs where I would recommend staying, and why it might be a good place. I highly recommend clicking over and watching that afterwards to get a sense of the different options that are out there. If you can stay within walking distance of the places where you want to spend the most of your time, you're going to have a better experience. Even though we have plenty of ways of getting around these days, you really don't want to spend your precious vacation time commuting all around. Plus, staying nearby will give you a chance to stop back at your room and recharge and refresh before heading out for the next activity. My next tip is that you should set a budget and decide what you want to spend, within reason. The thing about hotel prices in DC is that they are extremely date dependent. If you come here on dates when travel is slow, you can get an amazing deal. And if you come at a time when all the rooms are booked up, you're gonna pay a big premium. And I am not talking about tourism here. Business and conference travel is what really jacks up hotel prices. When the National Association of Fill in the Blank has their national conference in Washington, D.C., they can bring tens of thousands of their members to town, all at the same time. That is a whole lot of hotel rooms taken up for a single event. It may seem counterintuitive, but some of the best times to come to DC are actually on weekends and dates around holidays. That's because event organizers tend to avoid those dates. Regardless, I have several videos about getting a great rate on a hotel, and I will leave links to those in the video description. My next tip is to see if your favorite brand has properties here. Washington, D.C. has hotels from most of the major hotel brands. Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt, and IHG all have plenty of properties here. So if you are loyal to a particular brand or a specific loyalty program, a great place to start is right on their website. That will definitely help cut down the huge number of choices you would have to navigate otherwise. And my last tip is to be smart about using TripAdvisor and Yelp when researching hotels. What I mean by this is, don't just assume, oh, only people who have bad experiences leave reviews, because that's just not true. But also, don't just look at the overall score and take that as gold. Take some time to read the actual reviews and see what people are complaining about, and whether it's something that you would care about too. For example, a lot of the negative reviews about downtown hotels will mention something about how big of a ripoff the hotel parking prices are. In my Where to Park video, I mentioned that parking at hotels can be $50 or more per night. But if you're not planning to drive, or you've watched my video and know the best places to park for cheap, then this doesn't matter to you at all. The other thing you can do is to look at the actual traveler photos. Any hotel can hire a professional photographer and make any space look nice. But you can use the photos that people themselves have posted from their stays and see if they match the official photos, or if it looks like a place that you would find comfortable. They do say that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and when it comes to reviews, sometimes they tell you a lot more about a place than the actual written reviews. And remember that if you're still having trouble, I have some other videos about how to get a great rate at your hotel, where to stay, and a recommended hotels guide that you can check out by going to triphacksdc.com/hotels. And if you're coming to DC soon and looking for a tour, you can click on the Capitol Dome on the left side of my head. That'll send you over to triphacksdc.com, where you can see the tours that I offer. And for more tips and hacks, go ahead and subscribe to the channel by clicking on the Trip Hacks DC logo, which is popping up right now at the bottom of the screen. Enjoy your trip!